Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Usually Fixing and Tinkering. And as you can judge by probably the thumbnail of this video, that I am doing a job that I was trying to avoid in the first place. And that is removing the fuel tank on Project Ruby. Yes. Ideally, from the very start, when I realised that there was a bit of a problem with rubbish in the fuel, I should have really done this before. It's actually quite an easy job, a relatively easy job, but not as simple as what is made out in the Haynes manual, because it's 35 years old and I don't think it's ever been removed. So my mindset of doing this is very simple. So after the hiccup of an aborted MOT, I said I was going to give the carburetor an ultrasonic clean, and I should give you an update on what's been going on there, because it's not quite as simple as what's been going on basically. So yes, so the carburetor is once again off, and we have cleaned quite a bit on the inside. I need to actually make some new gaskets. Unfortunately, the replacement flange gaskets, the original ones, have completely obliterated. So I've got some gasket paper coming, and I'm going to make a copy of the original gaskets, because I cannot find the correct ones for a 2830 DFTM apps at all, even from Webcom, which are the official Weber supplier. Can't find the proper ones. I can only find the ones that go in a rectangular shape but don't have the circles, because you want some separation between the two Venturis, surely. I don't want air leaking where it's not supposed to be, so I'm not quite sure why. But I've got some gasket paper coming for that. Everything has been cleaned out really nicely. But that wasn't the initial problem. See, after that episode, I bought my own ultrasonic cleaner, popped that in, and after about an hour, suddenly I'm sitting on the sofa and it's in my bathroom. Bang! What? What the heck? I know what you're going to say. Bathroom electrical items. The bathroom was completely dry. I'll put it that way. I had a dehumidifier in that room just to make sure that everything was clean. I wanted it isolated, and I had it on a trip. And it went bang. Literally. Like, it wasn't the fuse. Oh no, the cleaner went bang. I had no idea why, but it must have been faulty. So I had to send that back after doing an hour's cleaning, but it did some cleaning. So I stuck that carburetor back on the car again, and I thought, okay, let's give it the benefit of the doubt and see how it behaves. Because the filter was, well, I'd already put the fuel filter on. I put a universal fuel filter behind the carburetor just as it runs up to the pump. And I thought, well, let's give this a go, shall we? Ran it for a bit. I ran it for a long time. I probably ran it for about an hour and a half in two segments, 45 minutes. And it ran absolutely fine. And then it started going wrong the moment I turned off for the third time. And I thought, here we go again. What now? So it runs absolutely perfectly at idle. Idle, 900, perfect, no problems. As soon as you put your foot on the gas, dead. Literally, boom, dead. Why? And I was thinking, I know what this is. Took the top off the carburetor, and I took the two main jets out, gave them a blowout, put them back in, put the top back on, no problems. Car started fine, and it revved when you put your foot on the gas. Crap fuel. It's literally, there was still varnish getting into the carburetor past the filter. The filter wasn't even picking some of it up. That's how small it is. I'm thinking, okay, so it's a tank job then. There's no way of going about it. Now, you could argue that what I've done with the filter is what most people probably would have done. You do the cheapest things first and then you work backwards. But also, you're kind of dealing with the symptoms, not the cause. And you're trying to deal with that. The problem is with fuel tanks, a lot of people generally deal with the cause, because dropping a fuel tank or even replacing a fuel tank or even cleaning one is not a faint-hearted job. What am I going to do with a fuel tank? Well, we're going to take it off now, and I'm going to assess what's in there. I haven't ordered anything, but I'm 99% sure that I'm going to be ordering a new fuel tank, because you can get them for a Mark III Fiesta. There's two different types. There's one for the injection where it's got a bigger hole for the sender fuel pump at the top, but I've only got a little sender. There's no fuel pump, it's just a little sender, so it's a small hole for the carburettor models. That's the only difference between the two tanks. That's it. And I can get this one for about £150 aftermarket, and I'm thinking, I'm pretty much certain of what I'm going to do, but I need to do this. Because there's only one way of preventing stuff from getting in there. It's quite clear that that's what's going on. I mean, that example of me blowing out the jets, putting them back in, literally, that's the only thing I did, and the car works fine. Yeah, this is rubbish. So I've drained the whole system over the last couple of days, and I've loosened a couple of bolts, and we had a bit of a fight with a couple of bolts, but we got there eventually. And we're just about to drop the tank, but I'll explain what I've done right now. Come on, let's go. Right, okay, so we've partially uncovered the car. Got my essential equipment around, and yes, the car is on ramps, although it's not quite fully on ramps. I had a bit of a problem getting it back up, just because the ramps kept on slipping, so it's ended up slipping to the point of these stones on the end. It's always the way. I had to do the same thing with my Focus years ago. It used to slip everywhere, but I've got a block of wood, some material just to make sure the tank isn't bashed around, but I've got a feeling I'm not going to be reusing this tank. But yes, so the first thing to start off with is I started off not by doing anything else other than loosening four bolts that hold the tank in. So there's one here where my finger is, there's one over the other side, there's two up the front, right, where the fuel pipes are, okay? So obviously you drain the system by taking one of the fuel pipes off, okay? I took both of them off, so the system's completely drained from the tank and from the front, and there's no fuel at the front of the car where the filter is, so it's all siphoned straight out, and that fuel is currently there. Yes, I've got to say, the amount of Red X I put into the system, it looked more like red diesel than petrol. I'll put it that way, but this car runs perfectly fine on that, because yes, they just work, don't they, modern classics. Whereas these need a bit more hand. But the bolt on this side, all the bolts, 3 of the bolts have come out really nicely. Well, almost come out. I've got to take the rest of them out. Obviously, they're still in there because I don't want the tank to drop yet, because there's a few things I've got to disconnect. But the one on this side was an absolute pain. Passenger side, as usual, the curb side. So what we have here is, I'll ignore the brand new nut and washer. That is what's going to go back on, a nut and washer, because this is the bolt in question, right? Look how rusty that is, right? Now I've tapped that and it still looks rusty. That thread goes through this clip here that sits on top of the tank, and this clip is held in with this sort of clip that sits at the bottom. It kind of goes round, and the idea is that clip is actually stuck. But it twisted, because the thread was so stuck, it twisted so much, it actually snapped. So that is being thrown in the bin. And we're going to an old-fashioned nut and washer. 13mm at the top, 13mm at the bottom. Simple as that. That bolt, I'm going to explain in a second, this is the nut and washer for the other one, because I'm going to do the same on the other side. Because these back 2 bolts are the ones exposed by water, but the one on that side, as you're going to see in a second, is perfectly fine. But this one is the fuel filler pipe nut, because I needed to move the plastic pipes back a bit. You'll understand why when I show you underneath in a second. But just take you underneath. So this is the bolt that was causing the issue, right? And you can see I've dropped the tank a little bit, but the bolt was just here. It was absolutely seized. I had to get some water pump pliers to get that off. So, you know, backwards and forwards, loosey and tighty, loosey tighty. Eventually, after half an hour, I got it off. So I have done a few things. As I say, fuel pipes took 2 seconds, off. Drain the whole tank. And this tank is now loose. But we've got to loosen the breather hose. There's a couple of hoses that unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get to until I've loosened a few more bits. The other one I will obviously show you inside. Because this is a carburettor car, I don't have a fuel pump in the tank, obviously, so I've just got a sender. So take the screws out, lift the back seat up, pop the grommet, and take the connector out for the sender. Okay, because you don't really want to drop the tank with that wire connected, because you'll break the wire. Anyway, let's get under. Right. Goodness me. Right. Okay, so I'll try and give you a better position as I can. For some reason there's been some paint that's come off the tank, but as you can see, if I just push in my knee, we're about there. Okay, now obviously the spare wheel, we're going to come around the spare wheel, could just take it off, but basically we've got a little breather pipe that I've got to gently disconnect from the metal pipe on the top of the tank. Okay, that is just like a sort of vapor breather. It's not even an evap system, it literally goes to the atmosphere, this thing. You've got the big breather, which obviously allows the tank to breathe when you're filling. This basically, I have had to just loosen this hose clip here where it connects to the plastic pipe. So I've loosened that just to give some wiggle. Now I'm not sure, this pipe here, was that meant to be rubber when it was original? Because if it's not rubber, well, it's definitely not rubber now. There's been a little crack in it though, unfortunately, as I tried to loosen it earlier. I'm just going to have to loosen this a little bit, but overall, should be okay. So I'm going to have to try and get my spanner on that, and just keep breaking the taper. I would suggest just a screwdriver action straight in there, and then you go in with some silicone spray. You keep doing that until it actually wiggles off. I've got to cut that cable tie because we need this disconnected. When this tank drops, we want this cable, this pipe, not to be in a position where it's going to snap, basically. But we're all disconnected at the top. We just need to get this other bolt out with this stupid clip. Again, I'm going to replace this stupid clip with a bolt and a nut and washer. But yeah, we've put quite way down, so we're going to keep going and see if we can just hot this thing out. Done. 35-year-old cable tie. This is the way they were cable tied in the first place. Now that's kind of free cable tied there as well. I might have to release that a little bit as well, give some free play. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that as well, actually. That's not ideal. Just make sure you don't cut through the line. There we go. Done. Now this is where it ends. This is the end of the pipe. So basically this pipe goes this way up the back side of the arch, and then it goes to like a little filter and then comes all the way back down again and ends there. So yeah, well, at least it's all kind of free now, and that's what you want things to be a bit free. So put that over there. Lovely, genuine Ford cable ties. I'm sure they'll be expensive. But now we're in a position where I can try and wiggle this off. This is going to be an interesting one. Now ideally I should have done this before loosening the tank, because this is going to loosen, because obviously that bolt's completely out. Obviously this was the one that gave the problem. Right, there we go. You've got to be so careful. You've got to think about, if things break, could I replace that part? This hose, you're joking, but I'll probably get a rubber one. This might have been rubber. It's coming. Oh, come on. Yeah, come on. Yes, done. Oh my goodness me, done. Yes, guys, it's far easier to do this when the tank is actually fixed. Oh, that's out. Brilliant. Now the filler pipe is just a friction fit. You can see how far it's moved. It's just a friction fit into this seal. It was all made for ease of assembly. Now what I've done, to give myself that wiggle room, I've actually disconnected these pipes. You see that the bolt that I took out earlier, that I showed you, it was just there, but it goes kind of there where it's not been painted, because I didn't take this out when I painted the underside, but it gives you a bit of flexi room. Now do not pull from that tank. You can't pull. You'd have to take the filler pipe out from the top, which is very easy, I can say, on this car. But the idea is that when the tank drops, we could probably ease that pipe, because I don't think that's got much further to go. It's only this one. This is going to take some persuasion to get out, and it's not going to be an easy one. I've seen scrap yards where they have to cut these off for ease of yeah, I don't want to be doing that, obviously, so we'll have a look, see what we can do. But now just take these 3 bolts out very slowly, jack underneath. What I would do is take all these bolts out too. They're practically almost out. Obviously I took one of them out because it was the pain of a bolt. I thought was going to snap, but it didn't. So I'm just going to take this out as far as I can before it loses its thread. Yeah, that's it. I can't take that out anymore. Simple as it gets. Just one here. In fact, if I can take one of these out and have that one in, should be okay. So you've got one bolt at the front, one bolt at the back holding it up. It's not going to drop on you. Well, it doesn't matter. It's empty. Look at that bolt. Clean as a whistle, because it's at the front, away from water. So pop that in there. Right, let's get this jack into place then. There we go. I think I can get this out, hand tight. Done. Okay, move all this out the way. The tank is now free. Now what I've got to do is control this coming down. So if I just shut that. Now you got to think about this, because this pipe needs disconnecting on the top. So let's slow it down a fraction, because I think, yeah, okay. Right, hold it. Oh no, a bit more than that. Okay. Oh God, have you seen all this? God. Yeah, there's been a bit of a spider's nest in this area. Okay. Oh, there's a wet wipe. How the hell did that wet wipe get there? Huh? That is so weird. Yeah, so we got the sender at the front there. You can't hardly see it. The concerning factor is I just tilt you forward, so I'm just trying to get my camera in the right position. Let's stick this on the top, shall we? Is this bloody pipe? How's that going to come off? That is absolutely welded. Right, a bit of picking, because I can't release this tank fully at the moment until. Ooh, so that filler pipe isn't looking very good either. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of twizzling. Right, on top of the tank, I've put some silicone into that filler pipe. It's not ready to come out just yet, but it goes a long way into that tank. But on the other side, I've had to put some silicone, because this breather hose looks like it's literally welded to this pipe. Oh, Jesus. Right, so what I'm doing with these water pump pliers is just gently, can you see it twisting? Hopefully, oh yes, it's coming. You just got to twist it and persuade it off very, very gently. Oh, it's gone there. Oh, blimmin' hell, gone. Grief. What a pain. Right, so now, if I can just release it from this... Oh, there's a little grommet here that goes through. Just pull it through. There we go. Right, go. Just go in there, just stay in there. Right, we're out. Okay, now I think I can just remove this jack. Come on. Yep, it's coming. I can still hear fuel in this thing. Come on. It's going, it's going, it's going, it's going. Yes, done. Oh, my God. Oh my goodness me. Is that hose meant to be there? Eh? Is that hose actually meant to be in there? I presume so. So presumably this feeds back into the tank. Eh? It was just stuck in there. I'm a bit clueless now. Anyway, let's get this tank out. Still fuel in there. Let's have a look at this thing. Okay. Oh, thermal pain in the ass that was. Yeah, we've got the fuel sender at the top there. It's just held on with a ring. I'll see if I can if I either get a screwdriver or get an air punch to punch that ring off. That will be doing. Then obviously you've got the two fuel pipes that go this way. Yeah, I think these will be just as much of a pain to replace as well, but these are like a nylon material, like the breather pipes, so I think they'll be okay, particularly against ethanol. So I shouldn't have to worry about that, but ugh. Right. What is going on? I can see the floating, but I can't actually. Let me just. It looks a bit dirty in there to me. I don't think I'm going to know, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to get this out into a bowl because there's a lot of fuel stuck in there. Right, there's only one thing for it. There is a bit of fuel left in there. Just swish it around a bit. I can hear liquid rust. Big style. Right, and I suppose we've got to try and filter this in at some point. There is a bit of a crack on this seal, so I might replace this seal. Depends if I can get this off in one piece. I might not be able to. It's just a couple of things I've got to transfer, like the sender. Here we go. Whoops. No, I don't like the colour of that fuel. I don't like the look of that. That is disgusting. New fuel tank is required. This is a bin job. Before people actually say this about this fuel tank, oh, you could clean that. You know, you got to try and see if you can clean that up. What with? The problem is with cleaning fuel tanks. You go on YouTube and say, how do you clean a fuel tank? Well, it's only a problem that's profound on pre-90s cars, and I just think. The problems that I hear of other people having fuel tank issues, if you cannot get brand new ones and you can only get second-hand ones, and even a second-hand one of that, I tell you what, I'd be able to get a better one than that. Trust me, even second-hand. So it's a no-brainer. But in terms of cleaning them out, I mean, people use white vinegar, which is an acid that could cause flash rusting. Some people say jet washing, that can cause flash rusting. Some people say bicarb soda, which is much more friendly and probably won't cause any rusting, but I mean, how long do I have to keep cleaning this out? And then I've got to find some way of shaking it. You know, it's a heavy container. And I just think, look at that. That's all you need to know about that fuel tank. It's just going to have to go. It is a paperweight, it's scrap, and I'm just going to have to get as much fuel out and let it air out, get the fuel vapour out, and abandon ship, get everything off this thing, that rubber insulator and the sender and that seal possibly, and that's it. And literally this is going to be discarded. It's awful. I wouldn't even recommend it as a second-hand one. And also I want to bring your attention to this fuel hose, because that's not right, that isn't. And I'll tell you what, that explains one thing. So you guys know that I've got an aftermarket cap. Now what I think happened many years ago, and I was told this, that somebody had butchered for some reason the original lock. And I'm thinking, why would you butcher the lock unless there was a problem with the key, it got stuck and someone was an idiot and broke the lock or something like that, or broke the key, which isn't true because I've got the original. No, I know what's happened. So on the 10 years that this car might have been standing, I wonder if it was outside a bit more than I thought, and which is remarkable considering its condition. It doesn't look as if it's been outside. I think somebody tried to siphon fuel. I reckon some chancer thought, oh, it's an old car, I'll drill that lock. So he butchered the lock, threw the cap away, chucked that big hose down and realised, oh shit, it's not long enough. I don't think that's long enough personally. I think that's fractionally too short, and I reckon he realised it was too short, pushed it in too far and lost it, or as usual he was disturbed and he had to abandon and run like a scaredy cat like he is. Yeah, because that's what I think about people that siphon fuel out of cars. This does not have an anti-siphon fuel device, so criminals know that. And it is a criminal, I'm sorry, no excuse. So I'm going to keep that as a spare fuel hose. But I've got a feeling that this has started to deteriorate. Yeah, it started to crack. Yeah. I'm going to keep that as a siphoning fuel hose to go in my jerry can, just in case I have to do a bit of carb feeding. You never know. Yeah, I'll leave that here. You know, Johnny the Late Break Show, barn find cars, gets a jerry can, uses a fuel hose to feed a carburettor, etc., that sort of thing. That explains one thing, but this is a joke. And I'm just going to try and get the remaining fuel out and then tackle that sender. I'm just going to show you this. I've just spilt petrol all over my... Look at what's on here. Varnish and sand. Yeah, that confirms it. The dregs are just bringing up sand. I mean, look at all that on the floor. Sand everywhere. Ah, Jesus. Yeah, this is shot. Okay, right. What we've got here, obviously we've got the two main hoses, which I could replace with rubber versions, but actually these are a nylon material, so I don't really want to be using these up. But at least I've got a parts number for the sender, because you can find plenty of these fuel pump sender assemblies for the CFI injection models and the Z-Tech models, multiple fuel injection, but you can't get any for... You can't get any of these senders, but at least I've got a parts number to go off. So it's 89FB9275BA. So at least I've got something to go off, but I've got a feeling they're going to be extremely hard to find. But I've just doused it in Neil's concoction, which is full of nail varnish remover and another substance. So this stuff does penetrate, and I've just got a little bit of movement. Now, ideally, you want the proper locking tool for this. I haven't got one. I've always used a bit of brute force, but if I just try with the air chisel, watch your eyes. Doesn't want to know. Doesn't want to budge, but I'm just going to keep going at it. Oh, I've got a bit of movement, but I don't want to snap this pipe, so that will be me in trouble. So I'm just going to keep persevering with this sender and keep going. because it will come. You just have to use a variety of smacking methods, i.e. my favoured one is to just get a screwdriver, a thick one, and wedge it in there and then smack it, but you've got to hold it steady. What the air punch has done is exactly that. So the idea is that you have a 4-pronged twister. I'll see if I can use a couple of other methods. We'll see which one works. All right, but nothing else works. Get these out. Oh, it's not gonna go. Come on. Yep. Come on. I can feel. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, got it. Got it. These things are just worth their weight in gold when the going gets tough. Now I'm just gonna release these pipes and okay, let me hook this out. Oh, come on. Careful. Just hook it out. There we go. Oh, it's a bit rusty. Okay, I think that's gonna have to be cleaned up. What the heck? Yeah, we need to have a look at that. But overall, this does work. So I will test it. I will test this in the car before I put it back in the tank once I've cleaned it up, because I just connect it to there, switch on the ignition, and just tip it over, and hopefully the gauge will just rise. Bit squeaky, but. Yeah, I'll have a look inside there as well. I think I can get in there. See, that's the micro switch straight in there. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it in there. So, and that's the wire that goes straight up to the base, and then it goes through there to there. So I might give that a bit of a clean up, and yeah, well, the seal looks good anyway. It's very, very tight. So, but as I said to you earlier, this is the small hole version for the carburettor model. So I'm just going to carefully just put that there. Okay. I'm not going to bother taking these hoses off that because it's too much of a pain. You don't need to, but oh my God. I don't know if you can see that. Look at all that varnish. Look at it. Look at all that rubbish. In fact, better way of doing this, I'll just stick this light in here. Oh, Jesus. It's not bad, but that's the bottom bit. Oh, the filters come off. Oh, I've got to get that back. Yeah, the filter's actually dropped off the bottom. There should be a filter on that one. Oh, this is like playing a game. Fish the filter. Come on. Oh, where's it gone now? I've got you, but are you going to come through? Yes. Oh, thank God. Right, I've got that. Doesn't look too bad to me. Yeah, it's just going to need a wash out in petrol, but that usually goes at the bottom there. There we go. Oh yes, there's like a spring that sort of helps it push on a little bit there. So I'll keep that assembled. But yeah, I mean, I can try and show you more pictures, but if I just stick the torch in there, I mean, if you could see the floor, that's the floor, but look at all that stuff down there. I mean, that's the best part of the tank, but look at all this. That's all varnish, that is, waiting to be blocking my carb. But also, there's all sorts of rust and there's just, it's bad. No. This is beyond cleaning, because if I was to show you the top side, I mean, I can do, actually. Nah, no chance. You're not going to see that, but I can see how rusty it is. Now, it's not unusual for it to be a little bit rusty on the top side, because do we fill the fuel to that point? Not really. But this has gone beyond a bit rusty. It's actually dropping bits of rust into the bottom of the tank. That's the problem. I don't care if it's surface rust on the top, but when it starts dropping bits and pieces in, no, not at all. This is such a problem with cars of this age, particularly fuel tank wise. And see if I can get this seal. There we go. There's a bit of a split there, but it doesn't... Do you know what? This doesn't feel bad at all. I mean, apart from the split there, but I think the split was more or less... Yeah. I think these are about 40 quid, and I don't really want to spend that much, considering the new tank. But I'll see if I can make that sort of lubricative with silicone. I'm sure I can. But try again. I can actually, what I'm going to do is a night LED torch. There we go. Now you can see the rust. Well, actually, it's not on that side, it's this side. There we go. Look at that. That is what is... It's just gone. Look at that. That's not good at all. Now, you want to say, yeah, okay, there's rust preventative treatments for that. No, no, no. I mean, you could put about 20 litres of Genelite in, all you want. Sorry, my torch is going on and off here. I can't show you further down towards that side of the tank, but well, now my torch doesn't want to come out. There we go. Yeah. It looks worse on that side, and there's a lot more varnish hanging around on that side for some reason. So I'm going to abandon ship with this one. I'm going to do a little bit of painting, a little bit of cleaning underneath, and then I'll have to cut back to another week. And be cleaning this up very, very gently, electrical contact cleaner. Anyway, let's press on. This is just a sample. It's just rubbish. Oh, hello, seat.